Hey Mega, while we have your attention, it's not just the Jeffrey files. Do you remember that the Orange Clown used to own the Miss Teen USA and Miss USA beauty pageants? Yeah? Well, five of the former Miss Teen USA contestants came forward and said he used to barge into the dressing rooms constantly while everybody was in various stages of undress. And the youngest to come forward was 15 at the time. And if you don't believe me, here is a quote that the Orange Clown said on Howard Stern. This is an actual quote. You can go look up the tape if you want. This is what he said in 2005. I'll go backstage before a show and everyone's getting dressed and everything else. And no men are anywhere and I'm allowed to go in because I'm the owner of the pageant and therefore I'm inspecting it. They're standing there with no clothes. And so I sort of get away with things like that. We tried to tell you.
I don't know if you guys are aware of it, but a lot of people are saying they're leaving MAGA now and they're angry at Trump. And I'm like, why all of a sudden? They're talking about the Iran war and Trump getting involved. Some people are complaining that the groceries, inflation, gas prices, the economy pretty much has not improved like Trump promised. Day one, he was going to lower everything, make all your dreams come true, all the bullshit. So a lot of people are realizing that the economy is not improving. I mean, I don't know what you MAGAs do when you go to the grocery store. You look the other way, pretend that the prices aren't going up for the most things, the most items. A few items have gone down, but not significantly where you can say, wow, I can really feel in my wallet that things are improving. So I guess the last straw for MAGA was the war. That Trump might be getting into a war and MAGA can handle it, can stand it, because they don't want another war. And Trump promised no wars. But you MAGAs were okay when he said, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. Jimmy goes to school. 4 days later, he comes back with an operation and he's now Julie. All these lies, you guys were okay with it. So you're okay. I mean, you're leaving MAGA. You're abandoning Trump. You're mad at Trump. But you're still racist? You're still homophobic? Xenophobic? You're still enjoying seeing immigrants being deported, families separated, people crying on the streets because their family are being torn apart, and you guys are, that's what I voted for. So you're leaving MAGA with all that baggage, right? So you're not changing. You're the same. It's just because you're mad at Trump, right? You're not realizing, wow, I was in the cult. Wow, I can't believe that I had that perception against the LGBTQ. So you're not acting like that, right, MAGA? The thing was the war. Oh, and the grocery price is not going down, but the war did it, right? Everything else, you're going to take it with you. You're going to still be you. Yeah, no, that's not going to fly.
Oh my God, I'm an algorithm howl. Please interact with this video if you appreciate my content. Did you guys see what just happened out in Nebraska with that one rural community hospital that announced it's going to be shutting down specifically because of Medicaid? Well, a bunch of journalists went out there to interview the residents. They're all MAGA. And let me tell you, they don't believe it. They think the hospital is lying, that people are looking for a reason to blame Donald Trump. They're saying these Medicaid cuts don't even kick in for another 2 years. It's all lies, 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 and they're angry at the liars who want to take down Donald Trump. They're blaming it on greed. Listen, I know that they don't teach this kind of stuff in public schools, but when it comes to hospital budgets, which are complex, they're enormous, you need multiple accountants to take care of it. They do what's called short-term budgeting, which is 1 to 5 years in advance. That includes anticipating what's going to happen 2 years from now when these Medicaid cuts kick in. And then they do long-term budgets, 5 to 10 years in advance. They got to know where the money's going to be coming from, what their expenses are, and can they afford to keep the hospital open? So they know that that tax has been gutted in this big, beautiful bill. That service provider tax, where the federal government matched a certain amount, and that's what kept these rural hospitals open, that has been gutted. So they know they're not getting that money anymore. Further, they know that the majority of their patients are on Medicaid, and that a ton of them are going to be losing their Medicaid. So what's going to happen? They need to go to the emergency room because they're really sick. This hospital is going to treat them because they won't turn them away. The hospital is going to go under very fast when you put all of these Medicaid cuts all together, forecasting up to 5 and then up to 10 years ahead of time. They will not blame Trump and the Republicans for this. Let me tell you, I agree with them about one thing, the greed. They have no right to complain about the greed of any insurance company, including Medicaid, run by our government, because all Bernie Sanders talked about was the greed of the healthcare industry. And all these MAGA folks mocked him. We would not be in this situation if we had finally converted to some kind of Medicare for all system. I guess when all 300 or so rural hospitals close down, they'll just be blaming all of them on greed and none of it on Donald Trump and Republicans and Project 2025, which it's all laid out in there as well.
Real quick trigger warning, because I'm triggered, so I'm probably going to pull some triggers. But I'm a sucker for difficult conversations, and today I'm speaking directly to MAGA. I don't care what y'all say in these comments. I see you guys talking about the tragic flooding happening in the state of Texas, and I'm here to remind you, it's not just Texas. It's the tornadoes in Oklahoma and Missouri. It's the rapidly approaching hurricane season for the state of Florida. It's Asheville being left in ruins because Biden gave them FEMA relief that Trump took away. And every time I remind you guys, this is what you voted for. You want to cry. Now's not the time to talk politics. Now is exactly the time to talk politics. Because you thought your political allegiances were going to own the libtards. You just handed us an I told you so movement. Oh, but the children, there's children. The children are suffering. Think of the children because they didn't vote, but you did. You're the same people who voted to defund every child in America's education. You're the same people who voted to rip children out of the arms of their parents and be sent to concentration camps. You're the same people who bullied an 11-year-old girl by threatening to call ICE on her parents until she committed suicide. Clutching to your Second Amendment right so you can overthrow an oppressive regime while installing one, and laughing at the libtards because we begged you to think of our innocent children being shot and murdered in school, at the mall, at parades. You're the same people who sent $675,000 to Shiloh Hendrix's GoFundMe because she called a 5-year-old child, the N-word. The same people who voted to take away food and health care from the poor children in your communities. You voted away the National Weather Association and FEMA that could have prevented the casualties and compensated the loss of property. And you want to say, now's not the time to talk politics. Let's think of the children. I will not think of your children. Because when you thought of mine, you actively wished evil upon them. And I don't wish evil upon children, but I damn sure won't send help to yours when you laughed at mine for being shot at school. Or other children for losing food, or their parents, or you rejoiced at the idea of a child escaping a concentration camp to be eaten by a fucking alligator. A lot of y'all expect me to give a fuck about kids that you don't. No. If you're not thinking of how your vote affects the safety and future of your children, I'm not thinking about it. I'm trying to fix the world you ruined to save my fucking children. I expect to see every able-bodied Trump supporter out there doing search and rescue for every natural disaster that hits, sending all of their Social Security and temporary assistance for needy families to the GoFundMe to pay for funeral and home repair. That is on y'all. It's not on us. I'm not even going to send a thought or a prayer because I will not actively interrupt the wrath of God to stop your karma. He is in real time showing you that he don't fuck with y'all for using his name in vain. This isn't just what you voted for. It is undoubtedly what you deserve. You should be so thankful that you're paying for the disgusting sins of blasphemy in this life and not the fucking next, because that one is eternal. Have the fucking day you voted for.
Well, would you look at that? It seems like some Trump supporters are finally becoming self-aware and gaining consciousness for the first time in their lives. Evan Kilgore, a huge MAGA account on Twitter, just posted this: Donald Trump thinks we're idiots. I'm glad you're finally discovering this. And look, this is gonna break some MAGA hearts, so I'm gonna let you guys down easy. Donald Trump has always thought this. With everything he does, he knows that MAGA will not do their own research or fact check him. And just take a trip down memory lane with me. In 2020, when he claimed that the election was unfair, with no evidence, nothing to back him up, he knew that many in the MAGA base would not care enough to fact check him, and so many believed him, even though he lost all those court cases. His indictments, his felonies, he called the case rigged. He knew that MAGA would not take the time to research the criminal justice system and the evidence against him. And now with these files, he said that there were no files, and then he said that there were files that were created by Democrats, Obama, Biden, and that you shouldn't see them, but now he's going to release them. It's just flip-flop central. So for MAGA, just to be clear, he has always thought this about you guys, and that's why it's so bewildering to me and others as to why you support him. You're worshiping a guy who thinks nothing of you.
MAGA influencers are increasingly turning on Trump. Some of them are being a little more careful. You know, some of them go, I don't know why Trump would allow Pam Bondi to do this. But there are others, certainly Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson's getting closer to it, who are straight up saying, this isn't what we were told was going to happen. Here is Tucker Carlson speaking with Charlie Kirk, saying that the dismissal of the Epstein files that we are now seeing, he's not buying it.
Are you joking? You're not going to shout me down, by the way, at this point. I spent 4 years being shouted down by the left for asking, I thought, pretty reasonable questions. I have always felt very moderate. I'm not a hater at all, and I'm not going to become one. And I don't think my questions are insane. They may be stupid, but if they're stupid, then just speak slowly so I can understand as you answer them. They're not crazy, and if they are, tell me how. But dismissing me out of hand by attacking my motive is not going to work. And telling me that my question is an insult to the children who died in Texas in a flood is an outrageous response. You are, anyway, sorry. And I say that with love, but I voted against that kind of crap. It's not just the argument, it's the style of argument. You are not allowed to dismiss my questions as a United States citizen with a wave of the hand and an attack on my character. You get the middle finger in the face from me for doing that until you stop doing it. So I think we have an absolute right to demand sensible answers. And the first question is, who the hell was Jeffrey Epstein working for? Why did Leon Black pay him $100 and something million for tax advice? Don't stop lying to me. It's not tax advice. I have an accountant. It's not that expensive. And
So there is Tucker Carlson, a decided split from the talking points, certainly of the administration at this point in time. I think the truth is what Tucker himself was caught texting. Remember, Tucker's leaked texts exposed that he despises Trump and looks forward to when Trump is completely gone from politics. I think that was the truth publicly, of course. He plays buddy-buddy, and this is great, and that's great. But now it seems as though, to a degree, the floodgates have opened, and we have more and more of these MAGAs willing to say it. Candace Owens is another who has said a lot of things, including most recently, Trump is gaslighting the public, and this needs to change.
I can't reconcile this Donald Trump with the Trump that we're seeing right now, the Trump that is gaslighting the public right now, the Trump that I voted for across multiple elections. The Epstein scandal is definitely terminal cancer to Trump's MAGA movement. There's no question about that. I actually said to my husband this week, and we were talking about it, that in order for Trump to get out of this is how bad it is, in order for him to actually make the MAGA base forget this, like potentially move on from Jeffrey Epstein, he would essentially have to come right out and repeal income tax in the United States. And then we would be extremely happy. Everyone would be very happy. And then we'd go, actually, thanks, Trump, but we still remember the Epstein scandal and we want the list. That's how bad it is. There's just no making anybody forget about this Epstein scandal.
This is a growing list. This is not, much of what happens in the right-wing ecosystem is not really relevant to the global or national, rather, discussion of how this administration is perceived. But when you have Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, Tim Pool, Megyn Kelly, it's a very long list, right? When you start seeing those people turn, and some of them are only turning on Bondi, not on Trump, I get that, but some of them are turning on Trump as well, or at least saying this is a mistake. I still like his tariff policy. I like his tax ideas. I like what he's doing on immigration. I like what he claims he wants to do on so-called men and women's sports, right? We like that stuff. But this is not good. When you have this level of that in the right-wing ecosystem, it's going to become a problem. Now, the guy who's holding on is Charlie Kirk. Charlie Kirk, one of the biggest, most brown-nosing supporters of Trump, he has just put out a statement saying he's done talking about Epstein. He just trusts the administration. He believes the administration is doing what they need to do and what's best. So other than Charlie Kirk, a lot of these, even Fox News is saying this is a ticking time bomb. Elon Musk, who of course has turned on Trump, fine. This is a real problem. And what the left needs to be ready to do is exploit it. So I'm going to be speaking to the House Minority Leader, Hakeem Jeffries, a little bit today. I'm going to ask him, aside from what's happening in the independent media ecosystem, should the Democratic Party be exploiting this Epstein thing? Or does Jeffries want Democrats to stay away from it? So that's upcoming. Make sure that you are subscribed to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/The David Pakman Show.
So before I go about my day and mind my own Black business, I definitely decided that I'm going to be petty this presidency. And the first thing I'm going to say is the tax benefits that Trump is implementing is not going to affect me and my Black family. And I know that sucks for some of you internalized racist, even though I wish you were more openly racist, because that would really help the 92% that voted against him and the 80-something% that voted against him, because at least we openly know. But I hope it really fucks up your day knowing that my Black family, my Black fiance, his Black family, and myself are actually going to be saving money when this all gets implemented, and not have to pay more taxes. While you guys that live in the sticks in these southern states, and I am in a southern state myself, that are penny pinching. I don't know, I'm not counting pockets, I'm just assuming, because, stats came out that people that voted for him are the least educated. Doesn't make sense. But anyways, yeah, we're saving money. And my fiance pays for everything, which means I'm going to be able to go on more shopping sprees. And even though I am 28 and I am getting married, my dad still does send me money because he likes for me to have whatever I want. And I know a lot of you guys don't get that. Sucks. And I don't have to worry about the price of eggs. Ouch. Anyways, have a beautiful
administration has handled the Epstein files just confirms my long-held belief that the right always tells on itself by accusing the left of the things they know their party has a problem with. For years, they've been telling their base that the entire Democratic Party is made up of groomers and child predators, but now they're just starting to realize they may have put one in the White House. This theory goes far beyond the Epstein files. The right has tried to justify their bathroom bills because we need to protect women and children from radical leftist trans ideologies. Well, just this week in my community, it was actually an ICE agent who was arrested after hanging out in a women's restroom with little girls holding his service weapon. They say that we're the elitist party that doesn't care about working people, while they're the ones passing tariff and tax policies that will actually be the largest transfer of wealth from working class families to billionaires in American history. They claim that we're anti-Semitic because we don't support the genocide of Palestinian people, but last week Donald Trump got on stage and threw out an anti-Semitic slur so old it was common during World War II. I'm telling you, I genuinely believe this theory might be universal, and we should always do some digging based on the accusations they're throwing around, because it seems like the call is always coming from inside the House.
We have some big news right now. MAGA Republicans are turning against Donald Trump, and it looks as though MAGA is on the verge of a possible civil war over everything that's happening between the FBI and the Department of Justice and the Epstein files. MAGA is just not satisfied with what the Trump administration is doing and the narrative Donald Trump is pushing himself. You have some of Donald Trump's most loyal people on the internet saying now that he has turned his back on them, on essentially the cause, on MAGA, and it looks like it's only getting worse. He wants to move on, right? He wants to tell the world about Rosie O'Donnell and try to revoke her citizenship. He wants to distract his own base, seemingly, from the issues that they care about. And right now, they're very unhappy. And it looks as though it's only going to continue and it's only going to get worse if Trump does not do something fast, whether it's potentially firing Pam Bondi, removing the head of the FBI. Stay tuned.
If Donald Trump could make the cost of living so affordable that you only needed one person per household to be able to sustain the family, look out. Because as many girl bosses on this app, God bless you, but there are a whole ton of us that no longer want to girl boss. You want to know what I want to do? I want to stay home, cook healthy meals from scratch. I want to take care of my grass so that my husband, after he's worked his 50 hours a week, doesn't have to come home and take care of that too. I want to have pretty gifts at Christmas. I want to be able to spend time with my family instead of with Ted in accounting. I want to go to my nephew's hockey game and sponsor their team and bake goods and do all of that. Why? I'm tired. I'm tired of the grind. I am tired of having to do both. At what point in our society did we say that women were no longer able to do this? When did that happen?
So if MAGA is not a cult, then why did all of Republicans today in the House of Representatives vote against releasing the Epstein list? This is the thing they've talked about wanting to be released forever. But now because Donald Trump doesn't want to talk about it and is mocking MAGA for talking about it, all the Republicans all of a sudden are not going to talk about it. So you people who wanted to get to the bottom of the Jeffrey Epstein stuff, just know that the MAGA politicians and Donald Trump used you to win, and now they're going to toss you in the trash.
How is MAGA responding to Trump saying that the Epstein client list never existed? Well, see for yourself.
I'm a Trump supporter, and I'm going to tell you this right now. If this is the verdict, there's no Epstein client list. If we don't get accountability for the thousands of victims that were abused, then I'm jumping ship. And all of you should as well.
This is all going in the trash. I do not support Trump anymore. He's a liar. He's a part of the deep state. I do not support Israel. I will not be supporting him anymore. He's part of the deep state.
The whole thing that this tape shows he didn't kill himself is like a joke. But worse than that, it's a joke that we all get. Like, they're not fooling anybody. So I feel like we're at a dangerous point now.
So now, by coming in and being part of the cover-up, the Trump administration has become part of it. I mean, it's just, you cannot see it any other way. So I just got to the office. So I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. Because I have integrity.
So this message goes out to Donald Trump and his people. I've been asked before, what would it take for you to not support Donald Trump anymore? I always said, well, it'd take a lot. I've literally made thousands of videos on this app supporting you, sir. So if you're deciding that Epstein is the bridge that you're gonna burn, I got the match, sir. You're telling me there's no list after you told me there was a list. You're telling me that you don't care about these victims. This is a promise you made to the American people, sir. Non-negotiable. You've always been in tune with your supporters. Always. 100% spot on. Not this time, sir. You missed this one.
I voted for Donald Trump in 2016, 2020, and 2024. I am prepared to die on this hill. If Donald Trump is part of the Epstein list and why he has decided to pretend like doesn't exist anymore.